Step forward, Alan May.
So this is where you're going to attempt to build a printing press, is that right, Alan?
Well, that's the idea, yes.
But not any old press. I want a fully operational Gutenberg-style one. There aren't any surviving machines from this early period, and no one's ever discovered an illustration of what they looked like. So Alan has his work cut out.
Well, essentially, this is uncharted territory. It's a detective story, if you like.
Right.
The earliest illustration of a printing press is the Danse Macabre, 1499.
That's about 50 years after Gutenberg started his printing, isn't it? So, and things evolved pretty quickly once.
That's right. I think that this early period was actually quite revolutionary. There were things changing all the time. It took off rather like the internet has now. You know, it really went whoop.
Yes.
Alan reckons that Gutenberg's press did share some family traits with later machines.
All printing presses up to about 1800 have a central part which pushes down onto the type. There's a piston and platen assembly. And the other thing that is required in any press of this sort is that you have some means of transporting the printing surface and the paper under that platen.
Right, so you've got a slidey bit moving along here, and then you've got a flat platen, you call it,
coming down there.
And black presses down. And
there's one crucial difference between Gutenberg's original and later so-called common presses, such as the one this model's based on.
To print on a press like this, they put 2 pages of type on this stone here.
Right.
It's a very heavy stone, about 100 weight.
Goodness.
And then the process of printing was a double process. You wound in for the first page, to just there, and operated the lever, which made the platen go down. You then release it partly, and wind it into the next page and print again. Hence the term two-pull press.
Forensic analysis of Gutenberg's original Bible reveals that he only printed 1 page at a time. In other words, his was a one-pull press. That will influence the size and design of Alan's experimental machine, which is already starting to take shape in another corner of the workshop.
Right, here we go. Now, what if you pass me the mallet and chisel?
Oh, Lord, yes, here we go.
Woodwork was never my strongest subject at school, but no one seems to have told Alan that.
The trick is to not use the whole width of the chisel.
Right.
To use as just about a third of the so that enables you to steer it. Better to be shallow than too steep. So if it's too shallow, you can just, pare it down by hand. Okay? Right, have a go.
Oh my goodness, you may regret this. I don't want to ruin it.
No.
Oh, I say.
Right, about a third there, like that.
That way.
Come on, courage. That's pretty good.
Oh wow! It's very pleasing. It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is. I get the feeling you're trying to reveal a fossil coming out of a rock.
Yes, it is. Oh, I hope that wasn't too deep.
No, yeah, it's fine.
It's an extraordinary. It's an extraordinary thing that you create something like a mechanical part, literally out of your hands. Well, there you are.
Well, that's just
If you could just finish that off for me. About yay big.
When Alan's finished the press, I want to print a replica page of the original Gutenberg Bible. At Alan May's workshop in England, our own printing experiment's already in full swing. Alan's invited his fellow printing expert, Martin Andrews, along to show him work in progress. I'm pleased to see that my holiday snaps turned up. Alan's also finished carving this hefty wooden thread, which generates the pressure needed to print. But the thread needs a counter thread to guide it on its downward journey, and it has to be cut by hand into the head of the press. Sounds tricky to me, but Alan has a plan.
It's an amazing contraption, Alan.
I mean, the idea came from a guy called Hero of Alexander in something like AD 64.
This ingenious device uses these wooden pegs to guide the thread on its journey. Meanwhile, a set of cutters at the other end carve the counter thread through this solid wooden block.
I'm careful to tap this not on the sharp edge.
So you're in fact using the real thread itself to cut its equivalent part.
That's it, that's the elegant part of it.
Actually, it's pushed loads and loads of sawdust ahead of it, look.
It's cutting something, but there's only one way to find out if the thread and the counter thread are a perfect match.
Ah, that changes the whole perspective, doesn't it? As soon as you take that out, one can see how it's all working. Oh my goodness, there she goes. Excellent. Well, I think that's a pretty good job, isn't it?
I do.
And I've never seen anything quite like it. So, I mean, I'm convinced. I think it works.
I'm convinced too, but there's clearly a bit more to do.
I've heard great reports about Alan's progress with the press, so I've returned to base to help him put together the finished article. If you've ever had a traumatic experience with a self-assembly wardrobe, now might be a good time to make a cup of tea.
It's like those cereal packets, slot A into tab B or whatever it is.
That's right.
I feel like Atlas. I'll get you a wedge. I'll give you a variety.
Bring the whole box over.
Oh, that's much more sensible. Ah.
Right, now you use your mallet
Yeah.
to tap the...
Don't do that, Stephen.
I'll hold it, you don't kick it. Good sound effects, haven't we?
We're getting good creaks. I suppose, Alan, really, no one has done anything like this for 500 years.
That's absolutely right on this sort of press. That's it. That's all.
Good. Honestly, I would never have made a Boy Scout. Hopeless. You see, what I love about this is that on the one hand it's desperately simple, and on the other hand there are all these little cunning things that I would never have thought of in 100 years. And I love when Alan showed me that he was doing this double thread. You think, okay, I'll follow my finger around here and it'll go behind and surely it'll come out here, but no, it comes out there because it's a double thread, and the other one goes that way. And it's quite complicated. It screws my head quite literally. He's not sure that this is exactly what Gutenberg would have had, but it looks right, and so often that's the secret of this kind of engineering and designing, is if it looks right, feels right, then it is right. It's a most satisfactory object. Apart from anything else, wouldn't it be fun to have one in one's bedroom? You could convert it with a little wash hand basin or something, or maybe even have the mirror here at adjustable height. I'm going slightly mad now because I'm so fond of it. The one thing I, of course, can't wait to see is how it actually prints. Most high-end books in those days were written not on paper, but on something called vellum. And what was vellum made out of? It was made out of those little fellows, those pretty brown, round-eyed calves. They yielded their skins just as they yielded the rest of themselves for veal chops for the tables of the mighty. Gutenberg, who was determined that his Bible was to be nothing if not the highest possible quality, thought that he would print every Bible on the finest vellum. But either he or his business partners did some serious mathematical modelling, as it would now be called, and they quickly realised that actually only a few could be done in vellum, because a little herd like this, well, you wouldn't be out of the Old Testament. You've got those two there, we'll call them Genesis. We'll call that fellow there Exodus. You've got Deuteronomy over there, Leviticus.
It would take 140 calves to provide enough vellum for just a single copy of the Bible. For a print run of 180, which is what he planned, Gutenberg would have needed a staggering 25,000 of the poor creatures. That's an awful lot of veal chops in anyone's book.
There are, therefore, a few Gutenberg Bibles extant in the world which are printed on vellum, but most are printed on paper. The great day's arrived. It's been 5 months since Alan first got together his plans and designed his printing press. It's now built. The paper's been made in Basel. I've cast the type personally. Nothing can stop us from printing a page of Gutenberg text. This must be how the great man felt himself.
Right, this is a moment of truth. Let's see how it fits. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad. I think we're almost okay then.
Okay. Right, here we go.
This is the moment of truth.
Oh my goodness.
Wait for the creak.
Good luck, everybody.
Here we go. Cross your fingers.
Well, there's impression there, Martin.
I can see
There is
that.
indeed.
Yeah. Look at how much just bit into the paper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my word.
Yeah, that is quite remarkable.
Fabulous.
That is extraordinary.
Now,
Congratulations, everybody. The inking is superb, Martin. The alignment is fantastic.
And there is your
but-
E, right?
And that E
There.
in particular stands
Yeah.
out as being
Yeah, it's the best one on the
far
page.
and away.
Excellent job. Bravo. Ah.
I am very, very pleased with that.
So you should.
I mean, considering it's the first one, I think that's startlingly good.
Extraordinarily.
Anyway, let's do some more.
Well, that's the proof of a printing press is being able to do more.
As we print, the normal procedure would be that the puller, you're the puller,
I'm
okay?
the puller, okay.
It takes the sheet off.
Yeah.
It gives it a cursory glance, but he's got to get really ready for the next print,
Right.
right? While the inker, while he's away from the press, the inker is going to be inking up again for him.
Right, so it's a real assembly line.
And when he comes off the inking, he checks the quality of the print that you've just done.
Right, he's not proofreading it, that's all.
No, he's looking to
been
see
done.
that the impression is everything's printing up.
Right, and then
we haven't got a
bits that are too
character.
faint
That's
or-
right. Yeah.
Okay. Done with my frisket.
Yes. Tin pan down.
Tin pan, that's it. It's bed.
Now we all hold on to the press now.
Right. And
That's him.
it's all right, isn't it?
Super.
Superb.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty good. Yeah. No, I think actually that's better than the first
is,
one.
isn't it?
I think the
It's
inking's
really
getting
getting
more and
there.
more even.
Gutenberg's first edition of the Bible ran to 180 copies, each containing more than 1,200 pages, which had to be set, inked and printed.
Very nice.
And that was just the black and white work. After they'd left the press, each page was hand-decorated by an illuminator before the whole thing was bound together to make a finished book.
This is the miracle. They're identical, each one of these wonderful pages, and that had never been seen before in the history of the world.